When most people picture World War II, their minds jump to tank columns grinding across Europe, aircraft spiraling through dogfights, and infantry charging through smoke-filled battlefields. What rarely comes to mind is one of the simplest, most persistent struggles every soldier faced: finding a way to eat. Out on the front lines, survival didn't just depend on ammunition or courage. It depended on calories, on warm food, on the ability to keep going when every ounce of energy mattered. But cooking in a war zone was its own kind of danger. A single flicker of flame, a thin column of smoke, even the crackle of firewood could betray a unit's position, draw artillery, or expose a patrol deep in enemy territory. So soldiers learned to adapt, to heat, and prepare their rations with a kind of quiet ingenuity that often meant the difference between strength and exhaustion, between endurance and collapse. Some of the cleverest methods came from the motor pool tank crews, truck drivers, mechanicsmen, who spent their days surrounded by roaring engines. They discovered that they didn't need a fire at all. The warmth of an engine block, or the heat radiating from an exhaust manifold, could serve as a hidden stove. Cans of beans, stews, and meat were tucked onto engine housings and left to warm during long drives. By the time a convoy halted, the crew could pry open a tin and find a meal heated slowly and silently, without producing a single spark. It wasn't glamorous, but it kept units fed from North Africa's burning deserts to the soaked roads of Normandy. The brilliance was in its invisibility: no smoke, no flame, no risk. Elsewhere, in the brutal trenches and dugouts of the Eastern Front, where German and Soviet soldiers endured some of the harshest conditions of the war, men turned to an ancient technique: hot stones. Heated discreetly during the day, stones could retain warmth for hours. Buried in the earth or placed into small pits, they radiated a steady, gentle heat that thawed frozen rations or warmed water for tea. Soldiers would bury tins next to the stones, letting the soil trap the warmth. It required patience and skill. Too much heat, and the can could burst; too little, and it remained frozen. Solid for men living through winters so cold they cracked metal and numbed fingers to the bone. It was a quiet lifeline. Some armies pushed innovation even further. The German military experimented with self-heating rations that used exothermic chemical reactions. Small packets of quicklime or other reactive compounds were stored beside the food. Add water, and the chemicals produced enough heat to warm an entire meal. No flame, no danger. Though limited by cost and logistics, these early chemical heaters were decades ahead of their time, precursors to the flameless ration heaters used in modern MREs. Allied soldiers relied more on solid fuel tablets, but when secrecy was essential, even those tiny flames were too risky. So they learned instead to harness the heat of the reaction itself, warming their food indirectly and remaining perfectly concealed. In the most desperate moments, when fuel was gone, engines dead, and fires impossible, soldiers drew on the only heat source they had left: their own butt. Cans were slipped inside coats, held under armpits, tucked beneath helmets to thaw just enough to be edible. Frozen loaves and solidified tinned meat softened slowly against the soldier's chest during long marches. It was slow, uncomfortable, and far from appetizing, but it kept men alive without giving away their position. On the Eastern Front, where temperatures plunged to brutal extremes, this simple method often meant the difference between nourishment and a block of ice that could break teeth. But not all ingenuity was about heating food. Sometimes it was about keeping it from spoiling. Salt and rendered fat became essential tools, especially for partisans, scouts, and soldiers cut off from supply lines. Meat could be packed in salt for days, even weeks, extending its shelf life. Leftover food could be covered in a layer of fat, sealing it off from air and bacterial growth. This ancient preservation method allowed resistance fighters and isolated units to save precious calories and reheat food. Later, sometimes again on an engine, or with warmed stones without risking illness. In the sun-scorched deserts and tropical islands of the Pacific and North Africa, nature itself became a stove. Soldiers discovered they could place tins on helmets, shovels, or metal surfaces and let the relentless sun do the cooking. Some even engineered makeshift solar ovens with reflective scrap metal or broken mirrors to heat water or soften hard rations. It wasn't elegant or fast, but in places where sunlight was merciless and fire meant danger, the sun provided a silent, ever-present alternative. All of these methods, From engines, to stones, to sunlight, were more than clever tricks. They were acts of invisible survival. A warm meal restored strength, thawed numb hands, lifted spirits, and gave a soldier the energy to continue. And all the while, the absence of smoke or flame kept entire units concealed, alive, and in a war where detection often meant destruction. Learning to cook without fire became a tactical skill as important as marksmanship or navigation. These battlefield improvisations also showed how soldiers blended modern machinery with ancient knowledge. Engine-heated rations echoed the habits of truckers and travelers. Hot stones and fat preservation traced back thousands of years. Even solar heating had roots in age-old desert survival. War pushed men to rediscover these methods, refine them, and adapt them under the most extreme conditions imaginable. And their influence didn't vanish with the end of the war. Chemical heaters from the 1940s inspired today's flameless mystery warmers. Fat sealing remains a staple in traditional food preservation. Engine cooking lives on among long-haul drivers and wilderness travelers alike. Techniques born out of desperation became part of modern survival handbooks and outdoor culture. World War II was a global clash of machines, strategy, and firepower, but beneath that, it was also a test of human endurance. Rations, emergency biscuits, tins of stool of it was useless if a soldier couldn't safely prepare it. Fire was a luxury rarely afforded, so men turned to creativity, improvisation in the world around them. Heat from engines, warmth from stones, chemistry, sunlight, body heat, salt, and fat. In the chaos of war, these quiet solutions kept men alive, one meal at a time. If you enjoyed exploring these lesser-known survival stories from the front lines, share them with others who love uncovering the overlooked details of history. There are countless more secrets hidden in the daily lives of World War II soldiers, and together, we'll keep bringing them to light, one trick, one ration, one forgotten story at a time.